Rav, in truth, we cannot understand from the books of the Kabbalists anything if we're not on their degree, their height, since we need to be on the same level of attainment. But if we try to be in some sort of attainment, then accordingly we may receive, according to our stature, to our craving, we can receive some of the reforming light, at least a little bit from that light which exists in these souls which attained and wrote this. We can receive from them some little illumination, and this illumination will sanctify us, purify us, correct us, bring us to some attainments and the understanding of the Book of Zohar. So let's attempt it, please.
Okay, friends, I apologize. I think I wasn't actually being live before. It is my first time streaming, so I hope you'll forgive me because there are a lot of kinks to work out, and this is my first time using this software. So, once again, my name is Mark. I'm with you today for Zohar reading. Hope everyone can hear me, and I hope that we will get to do this together and work out all the kinks. The part of the Zohar that we're reading today is called the Rose. We began studying it at the morning lesson, so that's what it was suggested that we would read this today with all of you. We just watched the clip of Rav to set our intention, and we can now, with that intention, start reading together. The Rose. Item 1. Rabbi Hiskiah began, "It is written as a rose among the thorns." What is a rose? It is the assembly of Israel, Malchut. There is a rose, and there is a rose. Just as a rose among the thorns has red and white, the assembly of Israel has judgment and mercy. Just as a rose has 13 petals, the assembly of Israel has 13 qualities of mercy that surround it on all sides. Also God, in the verse, "In the beginning God created." God elicited 13 words to surround the assembly of Israel and to keep her, the heaven and the earth. And the earth was empty and chaotic, and the darkness over the face of the abyss, and the Spirit up to the words of God hovered. In Hebrew, "and" is written in conjunction with the word following it, so it is regarded as one word. Explanation. There are 10 Sefirot: Keter, Chochmah, Binah, Hesed, Gvura, Tiferet, Netzach, Chod, Yesod, and Malchut. However, essentially, they are only 5: Keter, Chochmah, Binah, Tiferet, and Malchut. However, since the Sefirah, Tiferet contained 6 Sefirot Chagat, Nei within it. They became 5 Parzufim: Arichanpin, Abba, Ve'ima, and Zon. Keter is called Arichanpin. Chochmah and Binah, Chab, called Abba Ve'ima. Tiferet and Malchut are called Zeranpin and Nukva, Zon. The 7 days of creation are 2 Parzufim, Zeranpin and Nukva of Atzilut. They contain 7 Sefirot, Chagat, Nei, and Malchut. The writings of the work of creation explain how Abba Ve'ima, which are Chab, emanated them from the beginning of their formation to the end of the Gadlut, which take place in them over 6,000 years. Rabbi Hiskiah begins with the explanation of Nukva of Zeranpin, explaining the order of her emanation from Ima, Bina, which is called Elokim. This is the meaning of Rabbi Hiskiah beginning with the explanation of the rose, which is the Nukva of Zeranpin. At the time of Gadlut, the Nukva of Zeranpin is called the Assembly of Israel, and this is why he said, "What is a rose? It is the Assembly of Israel." There are two states to the rose. One, Katnut, the beginning of her formation, in which there is only the Sfira Keter in her, in which her light of Nefesh is clothed, and her bottom 9 Sfirot fall outside of Atzilut, in the world of Bria. 2. Gadlut, when her bottom 9 rise from the world of Bria to the world of Atzilut, and with them she is built into a complete Partzuf with 10 Sefirot. At that time, she rises with Zeranpin, her husband, to an equal level with Abba V'Ima of Atzilut, and they clothe them. Then Zeranpin is called Israel, with the letters Li Rosh, and the Nukwa is called the Assembly of Israel, for she assembles within her all the lights of Israel, her husband, and gives them to the lower ones. Katnut is called a rose among the thorns, since her bottom 9 were emptied from the light of Atzilut and remained as thorns. Gadlut is called plainly a rose, or the Assembly of Israel. This is why it is said, "There is a rose, and there is a rose." The red color indicates that there is a grip to the outer ones there, for the shells to suckle from her. This is in Katnut, when her bottom 9 are in Biriya. There is also white in her vessel of Keter, where there is no grip to the outer ones. This is why it was said, "Just as a rose among the thorns has red and white, the Assembly of Israel has judgment and mercy." This indicates that even in her Gadlut, called the Assembly of Israel, although in that time she rises and clothes the Binah, judgment still remains in her, because she needs the screen that is set up in her for decoupling by striking. Because of the judgment in the screen, it strikes the upper light and reflects it back. By this, it raises 10 Sefirot of reflected light, which is called the light of judgment. Within them, it draws 10 Sefirot of direct light, called light of mercy. Hence, there are judgment and mercy in the Assembly of Israel as well, corresponding to the red and the white that the rose among the thorns has. This is the sea that Solomon made, which stands on 12 men, for her bottom 9 that fell into Bria have been established there in 12 oxen, and the point of Keter that remained in Atzilut is the sea that stands atop them. Altogether they are called the 13 petals of the rose. The mochin of Gadlut of Nukva that have illumination of Chokhmah are extended from the 13 names, called the 13 qualities of mercy. This is why the Assembly of Israel has 13 qualities of mercy as well. The main thing that Rabbi Hiskiah comes to teach by this comparison between the rose among the thorns and the Assembly of Israel is that everything that the Nukva has in her state of Gadlut must correspondingly have a preparation and qualification in the beginning of her formation in the state of Katnut. This is why it was said that opposite the white and red in Katnut, judgment and mercy come out in her in Gadlut, and opposite the 13 petals in Katnut, 13 qualities of mercy emerge in her in Gadlut. Elohim, in the verse, "In the beginning God created," is the Binah that emanates to the Nukva of Zeranpin. He elicited 13 words, the, heaven, and the, earth, and the earth was empty and chaotic, and the darkness over the face of the abyss and the spirit, up to the second Elohim. These 13 words imply the same 13 petals of the rose among the thorns, and the sea that stands over the 12 oxen, which are preparation and qualification for the Assembly of Israel to receive the 13 qualities of mercy, to surround the assembly of Israel and to keep her, since the 13 qualities of mercy, the complete mochin of Nukwa, are regarded as surrounding and illuminating her on all sides from all around. Through them, she is kept from contact with the outer ones, because as long as the great mochin in illumination of Chokhmah from the 13 qualities are not in her, there is nursing for the outer ones in her. 2. Afterwards, the name Elohim is mentioned another time, as it is written, "Of God hovers," to elicit 5 hard leaves that surround the rose. These 5 leaves are called salvations, and they are 5 gates. It is written about it, "I shall lift up the cup of salvations." It is a cup of blessing. A cup of blessing must be over 5 fingers and not more, like the rose that sits on the 5 hard leaves that correspond to the 5 fingers, and this rose is a cup of blessing. There are 5 words from the second name Elohim to the third name Elohim: hovered over the face of the waters and said, corresponding to the 5 leaves. Henceforth, when it writes, "God, let there be light," it is the light that was created and concealed, and was included in that covenant that entered the rose and produced a seed in her. This is called a fruit-bearing tree, with which they sowed, and that seed is found in the very token of the covenant. Explanation: 5 hard leaves are the 5 gvurot of Nukwa, which are 10 sefirot of reflected light that the Nukwa raises through a coupling by striking with the upper light called light of judgment. For the 10 sefirot of direct light are called 5 chasidim Chagat Nehi, and clothe the 5 gvurot Chagat Nehi of reflected light. Those 5 hard leaves are the power of judgment in the screen that detains the upper light from clothing from the screen down. This is why now it is only called 5 hard leaves, since she is still unfit for coupling on them. At the time of Gadlut, when a screen comes in a coupling with the upper light, they are called 5 gvurot. Friends, let's renew our intention with a clip of Rav Laitman.
There will come a time when every person in the world will understand that we're all interconnected as some network, like it already is understood by people who are knowledgeable in that, who research that, those intelligent people who have an interest in understanding how the world works and so on. Some people are of those 10% altruists who kind of feel the connection of the world as well. But if everything is connected, it doesn't mean that much anything yet. Okay, if everything is connected, I need to be nice to others. Fine. But if, to the extent that I understand the connection in the world, I have to start operating the world, because otherwise nothing is working. The economic system, the financial system, the food system, the work system, nothing is working in the connection between people. So I have to start studying that. Where will I study that? It doesn't talk about it anywhere. Where's the university that teaches it? Where is this map that explains how everything is connected? This has to be discovered between us. How? We want things to be safe. We want everything in life to be there for us, for our children. We don't want hurricanes and other natural disasters and so on. So we have to know the right connection between us. How will we know it? So, it is said that in this special book called the Book of Zohar, it talks about the connection between you. If you long for that, read. So I start and switching the pages, another page and another page, and you start seeing that it's working, and people will see it, because when masses engage in something, it begins to be, they will still have to be somewhat connected to the sources. Somewhat. It's like, religious people today. They don't know exactly what they're doing, but they're just, they're reading all kinds of things, even if they don't understand exactly what it is. Because the whole Torah actually speaks about connection between people, but they study it differently.
All right, let's get back to our reading. These 5 leaves are 5 words that are from the second Elohim to the third Elohim, hovered over the face of the waters and said. And why was it mentioned another time, implying that there is a new action here? It is in order to bring these 5 hard leaves out of the nukwa, which are a preparation for a coupling at the time of Gadlut. 10 sfirot of reflected light are called 5 gvurot Hagat Nehi. They are not called Kachab Tum because they extend only light of Hasidim. Hence, Kachab descended from their degree, and they are called Hagat, and Tum are called Nehi. In Gadlut, when the 5 hard leaves become 5 gvurot, they are considered 5 gates, open to receive the 5 Hasidim of direct light. Also, they are called salvations. And then the nukwa is called a cup of salvations, or a cup of blessing, since through them the nukwa becomes a vessel that holds the blessing, 5 Hasidim. The number of sfirot is 10. Essentially, they are 5 phases, or 13, like the 13 qualities of mercy. 10 indicates sfirazon, in which there is only light of Hasidim. 13 indicates the mochin of illumination of Chokhmah, which is received for Zon. A cup of blessing indicates the extension of 5 Hasidim within her 5 gvurot. It must be 5 fingers and not more, meaning only in the number 10, Hagat Nehi, and not more, with the exception of the number 13, since the nukwa isn't fit to receive Chokhmah from 13 except by clothing of Chokhmah in Hasidim. For this reason, first there must be an extension of blessing, which are 5 Hasidim, specifically through the 5 fingers, which are 5 gvurot, and then she can receive from the 13 as well. This means that it refers to the 5 fingers of the left hand, which are 5 gvurot, since the 5 fingers of the right hand are 5 Hasidim. Thus, the cup of blessing must be raised with both hands, meaning with the 5 fingers of the left hand as well, to indicate the intention of the 5 gvurot. However, afterwards, in the beginning of the blessing, only the 5 fingers of the right hand should remain on the cup to avoid awakening the gripping of the Sitra Achra, which nurses from the left. The third Elohim in the verse, "Let there be light," is to emanate the Gadlut of Nukwa, which is the 5 Hasidim and the 13 qualities of mercy, where the 5 Hasidim are 5 times light in the verses, "Let there be light," and there was light, that the light was good, between the light day. The 13 qualities of mercy are implied in the words, "and there was evening and there was morning one day," since 1 is 13 and also 13 in Gematria. These 5 lights are the lights that the Creator created on the first day. Adam was watching it from the end of the world to its end. When the Creator looked at the generation of the flood and the generation of Babylon, and saw that their actions were corrupt, he stood and concealed it from them. It is written, "God, let there be light." This is the light that was created and concealed and included in that covenant, meaning entered the rose, that the 5 Hasidim were first incorporated in Yesod of Zaranpin, and did not come straight from Bina, from Elohim to the Nukva, and the covenant Yesod of Zeranpin, which entered the rose and gave them to her. These 5 Hasidim that emerge on 5 Gvurot are called seed. The power of the judgment and the Gvurot in the screen, by whose power it strikes the upper light and repels it, is mainly found only in Ateret Yesod of Zeranpin, which it extended from Mazal Nake in Dikna, while the Nukva receives from it only an illumination and a branch. For this reason, the coupling on the screen, which raises the 5 Gvurot that extend and clothe the 5 Hasidim, which are 5 lights, is done mainly in Yesod of Zeranpin, and he is the one who gives them to the Nukva. That seed, 5 Hasidim and 5 Gvurot, is found in the very token of the covenant, since in the token of the covenant, which is Ateret Yesod of Zeranpin, there is the actuality of the Gvurot that extend 5 Hasidim, called seed. However, the Yesod of Nukva receives only the form of his Gvurot. This is why the Yesod of the Nukva is called only by the name of the form of the covenant. As the form of the covenant was sown in 42 couplings from the seed, the engraved and explicit name was sown in the 42 letters of the work of creation. Explanation. The name 42 letters is simple Havaya. Havaya with a filling, Havaya with a filling, in which there are 42 letters. That seed, which is found in the token of the covenant, which are 5 Hasidim and 5 Gvurot, extends from the name 42. Therefore, as the form of the covenant, Yesod of Nukva was sown in 42 couplings from the seed of the token of the covenant, the engraved and explicit name was sown in 42 letters of the work of creation. There are 2 phases in Nukva. 1. The construction of her Partzuf, which was built by Binah, and 2. Her copulation with Zeranpin, which is called the coupling. As the form of the covenant, Yesod of Nukva was sown in 42 couplings from that seed of the token of the covenant, where the difference is in the coupling. So you deduce in the order of the emanation of the construction of the Nukva, called the work of creation, through the Binah, who was in the name 42 as well. There are 2 states in the construction of the Nukva, Katnut and Gadlut. The Katnut is called engraving, meaning engraving into a receptacle of the lights of the time of Gadlut, since all that is received by the Nukva at the time of Gadlut requires preparation and qualification for them from the days of Katnut. The Gadlut is called by the explicit name because all that is concealed during the Katnut is explained and becomes known during the Gadlut. Thus, the engraved and explicit name is sown in the 42 letters of the work of creation. The Nukva is called a name. Engraved means her Katnut. Explicit is her Gadlut, and they too were sown and built in 42 letters, like the 42 couplings in the coupling in the token of the covenant. Also, the 42 letters of the work of creation are the 42 letters presented from Bereshit through the Bet of Bohu. Thank you for being with us, friends, as we read this article from the Zohar. We're going to conclude with another clip of Rav Laitman.
The Zohar talks only about one individual, which is each and every one of us. And all that seems to us to be outside of us is really inside of us. All that we know from the world around us, the still, vegetative, animate, and people around us are all qualities of our soul, and this is how they appear to us as though they are outside. To the extent that a person develops spiritually, the picture of the outside world begins to sort of disappear. This is why our world is called an imaginary world and our reality is referred to as a dream. Within each and every person in the world, doesn't matter who or where, man or woman, whatever nationality or age, doesn't matter. Within each and every one of us, the same forces exist. I have to delve into my own system and study my inner system, and out of the desire to recognize my inner system, I begin to see the Creator's qualities and forces in it. I begin to see Him operating everything within me.
Thank you very much, friends, for being with us, for attracting the light. We'll see you next time. Take care.